At the time, didn't have any idea that you had been in a car accident. You hid the pain really well. I had no idea. But as time went on, I got to know you, and then the shaking started, and all that,
Mhm.
and it got worse and worse and worse. And that,
Yeah.
and that was kind of the beginning of our friendship, and kind of set up the stage for the next amazing, miraculous discovery that we both made together. And how do you remember the beginning?
Oh, me being rude and telling you to go. And I didn't want to hear about anything you have to say. You were giving me um, information. But you know what really stands for me is that, you know, this was a divine intervention for me. That's how I feel because half an hour prior you're walking into the salon, I was actually speaking about the company that you walked in with information. And so to, I've read enough books, I've done enough spiritual healing and searching that I understood that I had to pay attention now. It was not just you walked in, but you walked in with something that I was just talking about, and that was the sign. Okay, Irene, relax, take it easy, maybe pay a little attention. I know you don't want to hear it, and but here we are, and so I did, and that made me feel more comfortable and not. Well, I felt like you say I was very nice, but to me, I was really mean and aggressive, not how I normally is. But when you're living in chronic pain and your life just changed and you are struggling and you praying for some miracle, and at that time, I just began the journey, right? I just began looking for doctors. I was begging for my first epidural. So, I was not in a great place, and I was not who I normally am at that time. So, I mean, thankfully grateful for you that you didn't take any of my attitude personally, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I remember, I met a lot of people on this trip, but you were the one that stood out as the kind of the shiny penny that I was like, oh, this is someone I'd really like to, work with or even just be friends with because,
Yeah.
you're not normal. Let's face it.
I know. I take it with honor. And you actually the only person at that time that consistently checked on me, and that made me feel like, oh my God, the stranger that I was so mean to, but she's still checking up on me.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot to me because trusting, and I'm still working on it because my whole entire group of friends disappeared. Like the moment I didn't feel good, the moment I could not do care for free, I was making really good money. So my friends was always treated well, took them out, pay for their food because they weren't doing as well. And then when I wasn't doing well, no one was around. So that made, you became a very special human being, period, because I, there was no one like you're the only really person. And another client of mine consistently checked on me and even brought me food and things like that. But like you were a stranger that walked into my salon and you took time out of your day to check up on me. And then you said when things got worse and I would call you and I'm like, I'm on the floor, I'm crying, I'm shaking, I don't know what to do. You're like, my goal in life is to make sure that you get something to help you live your better quality of life. Not what you needed, like what I needed. And my joke is my credit card of $15,000, $17,000 was your name on it because every time you Google something, I would be running getting it.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna give up, and it got, the funny thing is like I didn't realize what I was getting myself into because it got worse and worse and worse. I mean, over the course of a couple years, you were barely surviving. You were barely making it up out of bed for maybe 6 hours, and then you'd have to lay back down. I mean, it was horrible.
Oh, not even 6 hours. I was exhausted, especially when the shaking started. My days were way too long for me. Like, especially if the shaking would start in the salon. Oh my God. Like I couldn't move to get to work home, right? Like I would Sometimes I have to take Ubers because I would be afraid that if this happened on the bus, then, what do you do? Like, I wouldn't be able to talk. Sometimes it even take away my voice.
Yeah, and I think, people don't understand, people who haven't dealt with chronic pain like this, it was acute pain, I mean, it was both acute and chronic in the sense that it was like so much, and especially it would kind of come and go a little bit, but it was always there, and then it would get way worse, and then you'd be incapacitated in a sense.
Yeah. So the pain consistently was there, but it just got even worse as the shaking happened, right? So, I had a little bit of a 4-week, 5-week breathing room when I did have that epidural, right?
Well,
But even
let's talk about that though, because you were like, I'm, you're working really hard to get them to even like give you an epidural. Then once you got the epidural, you had to take 3 days off work.
3 to 4 days off
Yeah,
of work.
you couldn't move because the pain from the actual
Sometimes,
injection. It was like it was unbelievable to me. I never.
yeah, and sometimes when they gave me the epidural, it became worse sometimes. And again, I didn't have a consistent doctor for a long period of time. So each doctor did it themselves, their own way. And what I've learned through all the struggle, that when I went to the major hospital, they did it under anesthesia, and I didn't even need that.
Mm.
Right? Because the last 4 epidurals was done in a different facility, and I actually had the same person do it. They did it in 2 minutes with no anesthesia, local, and I went home, and the side effect was there was barely nothing. It's all how it's done, and anesthesia was probably the side effect of anesthesia that I needed 3 or 4 days to get over it. So and now I'm speaking to you, and I'm like realizing I had 9 epidurals, and only 3 of them were not under anesthesia. So like all of that crap was going through me from the anesthesia. The recovery from the anesthesia was even worse than probably, like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just the
Yeah.
worst. The crazy part to me is like, they didn't always work either.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
work for a long period of
and
time.
well, some
Yeah.
of them only would cut the pain partially, and then,
Yes,
and then you had to wait another 6 months to get another one. There's only
that's
so
right.
many you could get in total because it's,
So I had 9 in 3 years. So three of them a year, and that's considered to be a lot. But
yeah,
what I had to do to get to it, it's even worse, because they want blood tests, they want an MRI, they want an X-ray, they want a mental and physical evaluation. Because when they don't see it, they think, it's in my head, it's PTSD. Yeah, of course it's PTSD. I just been hit by a car and I lost, 90% of my business. Like, come on. I mean, it was a joke. The whole entire medical field is a joke. When a 25 years old telling me take a big breath and stop stressing, like, you don't even, like, I wanted to punch those, residents. Like, oh, you're not shaking anymore. Well, you just gave me some morphine.
yeah, right. And
Yeah, I'm not
the
shaking.
shaking was intermittent. You didn't know when it was going to start, when it was going to end,
Yeah,
how long it would last. And
yeah,
it's like, we have lots of videos of you actually shaking, and it actually almost makes me have PTSD to see it, because I was, and there was no hope whatsoever. I mean, nobody was giving you any hope about any recovery or anything.
no,
It was horrible. It was the worst. And
yeah,
you were just getting more and more in debt. Your business was going to crap. And then, physically and mentally and emotionally, you were suffering so much. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And
and I'm
and
trying
the
to be your
only
friend.
Yes, and you were a great friend and still are. And the only option they had was the prescription drugs, was uh, epidurals, and then they're like, well, sorry, thank you, Miss Vaxberg, we have nothing for you. Here's a wheelchair for you. And what they said, wheelchair is waiting for you in the future. And for me, I was already struggling. I couldn't do any of my life. And then my daughter's taking care of me, and then they're telling me wheelchair. That was like that sentence to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have your daughter on and talk to her about it because I've never actually talked to her about it. I'm sure that was a terrible time for her. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
let's change to the bright side. So the bright
Yes.
side was, well, okay, my little story. So about 10 years ago, or close to 11 now, I was diagnosed with MS and I was having this, this limp issue. So I was looking for something to help me with a limp. So I was, looking on YouTube for things that would help and this and that. And I came across this video, this lady who had similar symptoms to myself, and she found this technology that really helped her, and it was amazing. And I was like, well, heck, I'm look into it. So then I did some Googling and I found Donalita, and talked to her. And she actually had been diagnosed with MS and she had a few other things, concussions and this and that. And then she said how much this technology was helping her and changed her life completely. And I was like, wow, okay. So, and she was in Florida. And then, I thought about it for a little bit and then I just decided, I'm just going to order it and see what happens. So I ordered it and I started wearing the technology, which was in a pair of socks at the time. And I couldn't really tell that much difference. Let's be honest. I mean, I just couldn't tell that much difference, but I was getting involved in the company and learning about different stories, and I started to have some hope for you. But at the time, you were in the middle of this huge lawsuit. You were at your worst, physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, it was horrible, terrible time. So I kind of let it just. I might have talked to you about it, but I'm
You
sure
did. You did.
I just said forget about it. Not wait
I
till
did.
after this. Wait till after this lawsuit's over. I mean, they were monitoring everything, your Facebook, everything. These lawyers were trying to, disprove your claim and all this. And so it wasn't until October when I was like, well, I have a pair of socks. I'm just going to send them to Irene and see if they help at all. Now you can take it from there.
Yeah, and the funny part about it, she sent me the size too long, too big, so that the technology wasn't where it's supposed to be. And again, it probably would have worked, but I was not in a great mindset. And I said, I don't really want anything. Like, leave me alone. Like, not leave me alone, but yeah, leave me alone. So I sent it back, and she sent me the right pair. So the technology was exactly where it was supposed to be. And the moment I put it on, and again, it was the worst part of the moment for me. I was waiting for my 10th epidural because my case was going to be over. And I was going to take my daughter finally to celebrate her 16th birthday and 17th birthday. Like, everything was in one, to Amsterdam, and then we were going to go to Paris. That was her dream trip. And so I needed that epidural. I could not imagine flying 10 hours, 12 hours, and then you are a tourist, right? You have to walk, you have to do, you have to be, and it's running, it's moving. And I needed my epidural. Like, I told Kim, I'm sorry, I need my epidural. And to make a long story short, there was no epidural. I put the socks on, I took them off, I put it on. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I didn't believe it. And and again, in the back of my mind, I can hear the doctor saying, there's nothing there for you. We can't help you. There's nothing on the market we can do. And that's behind in my mind, but I'm seeing, I'm not shaking. So I remember I called you and I'm crying and I'm laughing. Like, are you on the floor again? I'm like, no. You know what I said? I said, God just came down and kissed my feet.
Right.
and I said, I'm about to convert. Did you remember? I was like, wait, it's like, and you said, oh no, I love you, Jewish ass, don't worry about it. I was like, Jesus just came down and kissed my feet. And and I did, the most incredible part, and it's funny, but it's not. I did pray. I prayed to die. Like, I literally prayed to die, but universe, God, whatever you believe, whoever you speak to, kept on saying, no, 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 Irene, you can't. You have to pray one more time. And I heard the message for a couple of days, and I could hear like praying mindfully, praying more like intimately. I didn't know, and I'm like, I've been. And so this voice kept on saying, like, think of it, you have a magic wand or genie in a bottle, but you only have one wish. What would it be? So I listed drug-free, non-invasive, no chemicals, no side effects. And I said affordable because I was in so much debt.
I know.
I could imagine purchasing another thing that would not work. And actually that feeling was worse than purchasing, because the disappointment would be worse than the pain that I was living, right? And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to take anything, because I was done. I'm going to be in wheelchair. That's where my mind was. And I said, if it's a business, it has to have a mission, purpose, and passion to helping people. So all of that, I kind of released it. And then Kim's like, I have this product. And I'm like, I don't want to hear about it. But that's, you know, I mean, so what the point is, when you pray, make sure you pray out of the, think out of the box, because God gives you, and I'm a more spiritual person, I say God, but I just want to make sure everybody not to get offended or anything like that. It's a spiritual God for me, and he answered, and he held my hand through this difficult moment, and he got me where I need to be, and he answered my prayers. And I think the difference this time was, I said, I don't believe in you. I don't believe in my prayer. I don't believe in miracles. I want to go. I want you to take me away. But I said, if you still answer it, I will share that testimony that I gave up and you got me, and you brought me a miracle that I didn't believe in. So I do this every single day. Been doing this for going 7 years, so 6.5. I've never stopped. And there's a story behind the story. There's a story of faith, and there's a story of a miracle product that exists that millions of people hoping for, but just like me, are so disappointed, and made peace. And it makes me very emotional. Making peace with your pain is a terrible way to live.
No, yes, absolutely. But I mean, what other choice do we have?
We do, but we don't take. I mean, we have a choice, but we're so been disappointed that it becomes no choice. Makes sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. And that's one of the funnest parts of this business. I mean, of course, I wouldn't even be in this business if you hadn't had the biggest. I mean, I might have been in it. I don't know. But I mean, definitely made a big difference when you put those socks on and all of a sudden you're pain free, literally pain free, which
yeah,
is like,
yeah.
it's like 100, I just can't even I can't even explain the feeling. I mean, I wasn't you, but I felt that burden, and it was a beautiful thing to be able to be a help with that.
Oh my God, like you, I mean, literally gave me my life back. And look, it wasn't an easy journey of the it took 18 months for everything kind of to rebalance with me. There were difficult moments. There was still pain periodically. And that the noise in back of my head going, oh, there's nothing out there. And it was visual for me. So when I took the socks off to take a shower,
Yeah.
I was still right where I was. And then and then this doubt, does this really work? Or is it in my head? Does it really work? Or is it in my head? And no, it wasn't in my head. It really worked. And I could and do and be, and I went and I did, and probably did too much because I got so excited. I was in this cage, and then I was free. And so
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough.
And I think, talking about like the doubt, I think a lot of people have doubt, even when they have good results. It's like, there is a lingering doubt. I had doubt it was helping me at all until I met Jen Moyer. She did the balance test with me where you take the technology off, you check your balance, and then you put it back on, and you just notice the difference. And I definitely had an improvement. And that was good. I mean, that helped me a lot. And that was probably a little bit after you started wearing the technology. But then you and I both had our brain scan done, which is without you scan your brain and they look and see how your brain's working, and then you put the technology on for like 45 minutes and they rescan it and they do a comparison. And for me personally, I mean, I saw yours first and then mine came later, but I had a 43% improvement in brain function, which
Amazing.
that I mean there then my doubts were gone. And I also had seen your brain scan, and it's like, you know,
Off
Dr.
the chart
Dr. Mark was
improvement.
like, what the heck? I mean, I think it was like 73%,
Yeah, they would. Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It was crazy, the highest he'd ever seen. And so yeah, so that that when that became like scientific proof for me, I mean, it was like the thing that could take my doubts away, like
Yeah.
because I don't know why we want to doubt, but we do. And anyways, so it's like that was where I became really solid in my belief in that it helps everybody, because it's not just your brain scan and my brain scan, it's everybody's, because he did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of these tests, and
Yeah.
everybody had good results. Everybody had a dramatic difference, and it ranged just depending on what you know
Issues.
what your brain issues were, and or are. And so anyways, so that kind of got us on this mission to help other people, because wow, what a relief, and what a wonderful feeling it was to see my friend who I love so much be able to go to Europe with her daughter, run all around, do stuff that
Yes.
never would have been possible. I don't care how many
Yeah.
girls you had. I
And
just
have many more trips, done many more trips afterwards, and
yeah.
about to go to Europe again. And so, it's life is good. And now we have many other options. We have moved to this little neurological wearable patches, and we have 12 of them. And I mean, there's days that I wear 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
because
look
each
like a
batch
patch.
does something different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of our newest one, I've got the Lumion, and that's one of our newest one. It's for like skin health and glow, makes your skin glow, and actually it's been improving our skin. Like we're aging backwards, baby. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would have
Absolutely.
thunk that, right? I would have thunk
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't have.
Yep. Agree, agree,
Yeah.
agree. So yeah, so it's been a great journey. We have changed many lives, and been inspired by many incredible stories out there. And yeah, so it's good. It's all good. Full circle.
Yeah, well, and it's not over yet. I mean, it's
Yes.
we're moving forward, and yeah, we have been able to touch thousands of lives, because mostly because of your story gets, it just like wildfire, it's all over the place. But I mean, I feel really gratified by that, because it's like it's not just helping you, which is more than enough. Like I've always said, if I only had helped you, that would have been absolutely more completely enough. But yeah, being able to help tens of thousands of people, someday it'll be millions, because
Yeah.
we're not going to quit, are we, babe?
No, no, no. There's no quitting. We're moving along. I mean, look, I can't quit. I made promise to God. That's it. It's not up to me. I will consistently keep moving forward. Baby steps, big steps, giant steps.
Yeah.
But I will never, ever stop talking about this incredible product.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I know you have a busy day ahead, and
Okay.
it's always fun to chat with you. We can come and do some more chats later, but
Of
have a
course.
wonderful, wealthy Wednesday and enjoy it. And I love you very much.
Me too. Appreciate you. Thank you for giving me my life back.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Bye bye.